All right, welcome to day 3. I'm excited you are at this point. You are committed to going through this course and taking that action because it's going to create confidence and help you launch your virtual assistant business. So if you're brand new to the online world, you may be asking yourself as we go through these exercises, well, what is a virtual assistant? I get asked this a lot of people who want to work remotely, but if they aren't part of the online world, they're just not really sure what this actually means. So I thought this might be a good point just to give some clarity as you are working on your list and your services that you could potentially provide your Champagne client. So a virtual assistant is a professional who provides administrative, technical, or creative assistance to clients remotely. Usually you work from home, right? You have your home office, or maybe you're working at, a desk in your bedroom, whatever that looks like for you. So virtual assistants perform tasks such as managing emails, scheduling appointments, making travel arrangements. Sometimes you conduct research, handling various administrative duties. Virtual assistants can work independently or as part of an agency. So it depends on what your goals are and what route you want to take there. And oftentimes you're going to be communicating with your clients through email, through, platforms like Slack or Zoom. Sometimes there might be phone calls involved. That's definitely not as common. But the virtual assistant role has really become increasingly popular because it's so flexible, and we are seeing a rise in remote work. So this is an absolute great time to start figuring out how you want to launch your business and what you're going to be providing to your clients. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Now, day 2, I just wanted to do a check-in to make sure that you are completing those action items before you move on. Because if you just watch all these videos and you don't take action, my concern is that you aren't going to take action later. So please, please take the time to do the action items because they are there for a reason, right? These are the items that you do need to go through in order to figure out how you're going to be a virtual assistant, right? How you're going to run this business to reach your goals. Now, if you get stuck in the portal, there is a list of 155 potential services that you can provide. And so if you are stuck, I encourage you to check out that resource. You could go through and highlight the ones that you're like, this sounds like something I would love or I do really well at, and make sure that they're aligned with, you and your business goals. So today we are going over pricing strategies and ideal client identification. Now, when it comes to pricing, everyone always asks, well, how much can I make as a virtual assistant? And they want me to give them a very specific price. And honestly, I cannot do that because there's so many factors that go into this. Now, what is important is that you set your price in this industry, okay? When you see different people post virtual assistant jobs in Facebook groups or wherever you're looking, they are going to tell you what their range is. And I really encourage you to only throw your name in the hat if that is something that aligns with the price that you have set for your business, okay? We want to make sure that our time is being valued and that we can receive the income that we really need to keep this going. Real quick before we go into the next section, I wanted to show you this resource that is in the module here, and it is the income and expense workout. So the first tab here, it's very simple. You can just track your income because as a business owner, you do need to track this to make sure you know what you're being paid, what your expenses are, your taxes that you're saving, if you have a contract. So if you have another VA working for you or something like that, you would put that here. But we're not going to go over this one right now. What I want to show you is the income workout. Now, a lot of the people who work with me, they are able to get to making 30,000 after taxes by working part-time. And so that tends to be a goal we set, and because it's a good amount of money and it's reasonable and it's something you can get to. So in this income workout, we're going to put an income goal. Now, this one isn't going to track your taxes because everyone's taxes are different. So it is something to consider. Now, I did this a little bit earlier. We're going to do 43,000 as our income goal, because 43,000 for some people after taxes would be about 30,000 a year. It really depends on, I mean, your situation, where you live and whatnot. So expenses, let's say you have a professional Google account for your business. Let's put like 72 a year here. And then let's say you want to work 20 hours a week. Okay. So to hit the 30K a year goal, working part-time, you would only need to charge $41.42 an hour. Now, in this realm, that is not extremely high. Now, if you starting out, you might start working for $25 an hour. That really depends on if that works for you, right? Like, I'm not going to tell you to work for 25 an hour. Everyone who works with me, I encourage them not to charge below $25 an hour, and definitely do not work for free. I see that way too often where people they're going to provide free work so that, just to see if they can try to sign a client. And any worthwhile clients are going to pay you for your work. Even if it's a 30-day trial, they need to pay you. And if you want to, for the first 6 months, charge $25 an hour, that is completely fine. But at least here you can see your goal is going to be to move up to, in this case, it'd be 41, 42, or maybe you run up to $42. It's up to you. But this is just a great exercise so that you can see your goal and what you want to work per week. And I just realized I messed up that formula. So over here, you can put your expenses. It's going to total them and then make your annual. This is obviously projected, but what your annual expenses might be to factor that in. Now, again, you have to put your own taxes in here. So when you figure out your goal, just do the math backwards to consider the taxes that are going to be taken out. And you can research online. IRS has some resources that I can put here in the module for you to be able to do that. Okay, so now that we've looked at that income workout, you might be thinking, there's no way I'm going to charge $42 an hour. And believe me, I get it. When I first started, I was like, I considered what I made in jobs even before my corporate job. And I was like, well, maybe I can, charge this. But one thing you have to realize before I go into what this slide shares is that you are not an employee, right? You are an independent contractor and you are going to pay your own taxes. You are going to pay for your own internet, your own computer, if you need supplies, whatever that looks like, you are paying for that. Your client does not pay for that. They pay your hourly rate. That's why in that income workout, we put our expenses in there so that we can make sure we factor that into our income goal. Now, if it's a client who is new to the online industry, they might need some educating around that so that they can understand that what an employee rate looks like is very different than what an independent contractor rate looks like, because of everything that goes into us being able to run our own business. Now, here in this slide, specialization, and if you've been following me for some time, I'm a fan of this, but this is the best way to increase your rates. So specializing in specific VA services allows you to increase your rates over time. Now, there's different ways to specialize. You can become a social media manager. You can become a launch specialist or launch manager. You can, do automations or be a technical virtual assistant where you are really good at the software programs, or maybe you have a focus on project management, or you have a desire to become an OBM where you're managing the online team. And eventually you would be the one managing the other virtual assistants on the team, or other, even the social media manager. It really depends. Now, when you get here, obviously you're providing more value. You have to have more expertise. So therefore you are going to charge more. Now, I think this is a great way to look at that income workout where you decide, okay, the first 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, I really want to make this. But my end goal is to make, maybe it's $80,000 a year, whatever that looks like. You can factor that in and kind of figure out, like, what do I want to specialize in so that I can charge these rates? Okay, because as you specialize, you should not be charging a general VA rate because of your knowledge and the expertise that you are providing to your client. Now, I do have another course. It's called the Launch Lab. I am certified in launch strategies, so I have created a course around that. So if you are interested in becoming an expert in launching, that is another very low ticket course I have if you're interested in that. Now, when we go back and look at that ideal client draft that we did, right? We gave them a name, we kind of drafted what they're like, what their personality is like, maybe their business or what they, services they provide. We want to look and make sure that the offers that we have work for them, right? Does your ideal client value the services you provide? And do they view you as a worthwhile investment? And that second question there isn't for you to question your value. It's to make sure that when you set your prices, when you set this service list that you have, that you're only talking to people who really view you as a worthwhile investment, because you are. And so if you get people who are questioning your rates, they don't really know if they actually need your services, I encourage you to move on, okay? You're not here to try to convince someone of this, because that champagne client that you created, that person is going to see you and see the value that you provide to their team. And it's important to make sure we enjoy the work we do and are aligned ethically with our clients. And so we're going to talk about that here in a sec, because this one's a big one for me as well. We have to be aligned ethically. So do not give in when it comes to your values and your ethics ever in this industry, okay? Now, one of the things I want you to do today is to write out what this looks like for you before you ever start talking to potential clients, because I want you to be strong in this area. So if they're like, what are the values for you and what are the values for your business, right? What are some things that you are not willing to be involved in? And as an example, for me, when I was doing this business, when I was providing services to clients, sales were a big thing for me. If I did not think they had ethical sales strategies, I would not work with them. If I thought they were lying to people just to get people to sign up for their one-on-one coaching or their course or whatever it was, I couldn't be a part of that. I needed to know that they truly cared about their clients, that they, were the biggest cheerleaders. They wanted to see their clients succeed. They were honest with how they communicated what was provided in their programs. They weren't trying to get people to take out, second mortgages on their house to pay for $18,000 one-on-one coaching packages. And that is something I encountered, believe it or not. But that's why sales strategy is so important to me when I work with people. If I'm not aligned with how they're doing sales, I cannot work with them. And I have other things here on my list, but that's one of the big ones for me. So I really do encourage you to write out your values and what you're not willing to do. Who are you not willing to work with? If they do X, Y, Z, it's not going to be a good fit. And I really encourage you to stick with that. Even if they pay a lot of money, if it is not aligned ethically, it is not a good option for you. So your action item for today is to complete that income workout, whether you just complete it for right now or for what would it allow you to leave your 9 to 5, Or if you want to look in the future, right? When you become specialized, what are your goals at that point in your business? And you can, start doing some research around that. So let's say it's 80,000. I don't know what that is hourly with the expenses we had in there. Um, but you can start looking, okay, well, if I wanted to be a launch manager or an OBM, how does this rate that I want to make compare to what other people are charging? Just because sometimes that creates some motivation, right? When we can see what's possible when we really stick to this. And in the beginning, it's a learning curve, and it's not entry level because you do have experience, but in some ways you are learning on the job. So it does make sense to, charge a little bit lower, have that $25 an hour rate or 30, whatever that looks like for you. And then as you really get confident in your business structure, how you communicate online, how to work with remote teams, then at that point, you move to the next level. And then I want you to write out your values and your ethics non-negotiables. Okay. So after today, you should have an idea of what your rate is. One thing with this is when you're starting out, hourly is fine because it gives you an idea to track how long things take you. However, once you are in this game for a while and you understand it, you know what you want to do, who you want to work with, I do encourage you to go to a retainer model. And retainers are very similar to a salary, right? So you're going to say, I'm going to provide 15 to 20 hours a week of work. Here's the things that I'm going to do for you. Here's like my deliverables, and it's X amount per month. Okay. And this is also a way to raise your rates because as you get better and you're more efficient in your work, it's going to take you less time to provide those same deliverables, but you're still making the same amount of money. Okay. So then if you look at your rate, your hourly income, it actually increases, but you have the same commitment with your client because it's more focused on the deliverables and not as focused on the hours. You will still see that, like I mentioned, 15 to 20 hours a week, but that's just to give you an idea of what they think that time commitment looks like. What's more important is whether you are providing deliverables that are agreed upon. So, sorry, that was a tangent. But just focus on these action items here on the screen today, and I will see you tomorrow.